As a trans guy who reads a lot of queer books, I don't read the popular ones, but that all changes today. For the next 48 hours, I am going to let this spinner wheel pick which popular queer books I read. There's only one problem. I am notoriously a slow reader. I pulled 30 of the most popular and hyped queer books from over the last few years that I haven't read. Some I'm really looking forward to reading because I've had them on my TBR for years, and others I've been straight up avoiding. Either they are way too intimidating for me or I vowed to never read them. I'd also like to check off some spaces for the Queer Lit Readathon this month, and I could do that with Cleat Cute by Meryl Wilsner. I read from this author last month and I loved it. I need to read more of their books. This video felt like the perfect timing. Everybody's been recommending me Self-Made Boys by Anna Marie McLemore since I read Most Ardently. This could also work for the Queer Lit Readathon, so I hope to pick this up. This is a queer and trans Great Gatsby retelling. I'm so excited to read this. Don't worry, I did add some graphic novels. Clementine by Tilly Walden has been on my radar for a while. This is set in the world of The Walking Dead, and I love queer books about zombies. Okay, that's enough about the books that I actually want to read. There are plenty in this list that I don't want to read. Like Heated Rivalry. As a diehard hockey fan, I have my problems with hockey romance, so I vowed to never read this, but it is literally the most popular book in the world right now, so I had to add it. Honestly, I'm gonna be so pissed if I get this book. If I do, I hope that it changes my opinions. When it comes to fiction, I tend to stick with contemporary and romance. So you're not going to see many fantasy or sci-fi books on this list. It takes me forever to read fantasy and sci-fi. This would be such a boring video if I was just reading one book and you saw me struggling through a fantasy book. But I did include This Is How You Lose the Time War because I feel like I'm the only person who hasn't read this. I also feel like I'm the only person who hasn't read anything by Andrew Joseph White, despite being recommended it so much online. Horror and I don't get along anymore. I used to be such a big horror fan, but as I got older and my anxiety got worse, I would read horror and get nightmares. The last time I read a horror book was back in November, and I had nightmares for 3 nights straight. But because I'm reading popular queer books, I had to add this. Honestly, I would probably be getting so many comments about where this book is if I didn't include it. I do own a physical copy, and I did read some of this a couple years ago, but it just wasn't the right time. I really enjoyed it, so I actually wouldn't be upset if I got this, but I don't want to have nightmares. This list is intentional. I made sure that I could access the books from my library, and there are some popular queer authors that I just don't want to read. So if there's a specific person that you have in mind, there's probably a reason why they're not on this list. Okay, now it's time for the moment of truth. What is the first book I'll be reading? 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna close my eyes. Oh. Okay. Well, I guess I'll get the horror out of the way first. Okay. Trying to figure out how to hype myself up for this. On the bright side, at least it's not Heated Rivalry. The way I'm structuring this video is I will be reading from today, Friday, at 3 p.m. till Sunday at 3 p.m. So that's how my 48 hours is going to go. All right, the first book is Hell Follows With Us by Andrew Joseph White, the horror that I've been avoiding. This is a trans horror. I know it has some angels in it, and I hope that I enjoy it. I think I will, but horror scares me, and I really hope I get a good night's sleep tonight. 4 hours into this challenge and I'm already struggling. I have 44 more hours to go, so this can't be happening. As soon as I sat down to read with my book, I immediately felt tired, and I have felt tired for the last 4 hours. I've had some caffeine. I also ate dinner, but still, I am exhausted. Luckily, the book is not what is making me tired. I'm on page 84. I'm really enjoying this. It is disturbing at points. There are graphic depictions of gore. It also talks about grief and evangelicalism. The story alone is centered on religion, especially evangelicalism, and we have some chosen family. Despite this being super dark and disturbing, there are pockets of trans joy. So since it's been a few hours, I figured I was due for my first update. I'm gonna get back to reading and I'll come back before I go to sleep. I'm over 7 hours in, and I'm gonna call it a night, go to sleep, and wake up early in the morning. But I did get 30% into Hell Followed With Us. I'm really enjoying it. Honestly, I can't wait to go to sleep and then wake up and read it again. I just love a book with rage. I also just love the world building. This is such an interesting book. I'm intrigued to see how the rest of it goes because I can't imagine there being a happy ending. Alright, I'm going to get some sleep and I'll see you in the morning. Hello, good morning. I've been up for at least 2 hours now, and I have been reading Hell Follows With Us. Honestly, I haven't gotten too much more into it, but I am on page 132. Still really enjoying this. It's just very slow for me to read because there is a lot of world building. This is why I didn't want to pick a non-contemporary book, because world building is really hard for me to adjust to, and it takes me longer to read. My biggest goal today is to finish this before 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock, I am hosting some reading sprints for my free and paid members on Patreon and Bindery. Through Discord, I run a monthly themed book club, and every month I host live reading sprints for us to all just read our books together. So that's actually going to hinder me today. So I need to finish this because the book that I'm reading for book club isn't going to be a part of this video, and that's going to cut 2 hours off of my reading time for this challenge. I wanted to check in with you this morning, let you know how this is going, and now back to it. We're almost at the 24-hour mark. I've been reading a lot for the last couple hours and I have surpassed 200 pages. I'm still really enjoying Hell Followed With Us, but oh my god, this is so grotesque. So disturbing, disgusting. This is not for everybody. There's so much body horror, so if you can't handle that, you're probably not going to like this. However, it is not ideal for this type of challenge because I am slowly reading it because I'm still trying to grasp the world building. I imagine this is going to be the type of book that I just need to read and I'll let you know my thoughts at the end. But I wanted to pop in and let you know that I am still enjoying it. I love trans rage. I really appreciate how the transness is written. We also have some autistic rep. I know that Andrew Joseph White is autistic himself and also likes to write that representation in. One of our main characters, Nick, is autistic. Two, I really appreciate that we have a dual perspective. I was really surprised by that. I thought it was just going to be one narrative, but I am enjoying the writing and I'm excited to see where the story is headed. Sort of in the midpoint, or we're gonna get there eventually. I can understand what is probably going to happen. But also, I don't think this is going to have a happy ending. I feel like this is probably gonna make me cry at some point. I'm gonna head on to sprints and I will see you once I'm finished reading this. It is under 7 hours now, and I still haven't even finished Hell Follows With Us. I desperately tried to finish it last night, but I was so tired that I couldn't. I went to bed around like 11:30. However, I have like 85 pages left. I'm very ambitious today, so let's see if I can complete 2 more books in 7 hours. I have successfully finished Hell Followed With Us. Apologies, I feel like I've been saying Hell Follows With Us this whole entire time. Hell Followed With Us is complete. Now it is time for my next book. Oh. Yes, let's go. This is how you lose the time war. Five hours in, just a couple more hours to go, and holy shit, this broke me so badly. Oh my god. Obviously I'll have my full thoughts and reviews at the end of this video, but oh my god, I am gobsmacked and drained. Emotionally drained. I also managed to get the audiobook, and truly if I didn't have the audiobook, I probably would have taken a long time to read that book. It is 12:42, so I have about 2 hours left of this challenge. So I'm actually going to fix myself some lunch, settle down with Clementine for our final read. Hi, Editing Me here, popping in to let you know I made an executive decision while I was filming. You see me say I'm about to read Clementine, but you're probably like, when did that happen? Well, I was so annoyed at this wheel because I was just getting long books and I was not getting a graphic novel. So I made my own wheel with just graphic novels, and I was like, you know what? This wheel and I are not getting along, so I'm just gonna pick the graphic novel I want. And so I picked Clementine, and now you are all caught up. I just finished up Clementine. I have 30 minutes left, so I figured why not just spin my graphic novel wheel and see if I can find a graphic novel to end out this video. If not, Clementine will be my final book. That does it. My 48 hours are up. Okay, that's enough of these time challenges for a while. A couple weeks ago, I had a spinner wheel pick how long I read for, and that was a lot. And I also did a video for my Patreon and Bindery members where I swapped my screen time with reading time. So I think I can be done with these time challenges for a while. So how did it go? I could say it was successful because I read 3 books, but when I had the idea for this video, in my mind, I wanted to read 5 books. I had a vision that I was just constantly using the wheel, and I wish I would have gotten more use out of it. So I definitely want to use this wheel again. If you have any ideas, let me know in the comments. Maybe I'll do a version of this, but it won't be for 48 hours. It'll just be a traditional reading vlog. But like I said, I was able to read 3 books, and that alone is an accomplishment. However, I don't want to lose sight of why I love reading, and I don't want to promote the idea that you need to always be reading and it needs to be faster and a competition. That is not something that I want to put out there. This was just my own doing for entertainment purposes. This is not me endorsing to read very fast. If you like 48-hour readathons, you like 24-hour readathons, more power to you. But I think it's important to remember that reading is not a competition and it's not a race. Whether it takes you 1 month to read 1 book, or you're a fast reader and you can read 20 books in a month, that still classifies you as a reader. And as a slow reader who does make bookish content, it can be hard sometimes when I watch videos of people being able to read 5 books in a week, and I know that that's just not realistic for me. And that it took me way longer to read a book that is almost 400 pages when that might take somebody less time. Yes, it did take me 3 days, which is pretty average, I would say. But I just want to remind you that it doesn't matter how fast or slow you read, you are still a reader. Also, these type of challenges can burn you out. When I did my other spin the wheel video, that really burned me out, so maybe I shouldn't have done one so soon. But this idea was just brewing in my head and I needed to just do it. So in conclusion, this was fun, but I don't know if I would do a 48-hour challenge again. In the near future, possibly. For now, no more. But like I said, I'd like to do something again with the spinner wheel, so if you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. Now let's get to the books. Like I said, I read 3 books. Hell Followed With Us by Andrew Joseph White. This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El Motar and Max Gladstone. And for a graphic novel, I read Clementine by Tilly Walden. Let's review. I actually really enjoyed this. As somebody who doesn't really like to read horror, I was mesmerized by this book. I just kept thinking about how one person came up with this idea. I was like, oh my god, Andrew Joseph White, your mind. We follow a trans boy, Benji. I think that this is like set in the future or it's some kind of like dystopian thing. I'm still lost on the whole world building thing, but I do think I can tell you enough for it to make sense. Maybe I'm not the best person to be explaining this. This is all about religious trauma, and we have the angels versus the graces, and then you have Benji, who is a seraph, I think is how you pronounce it. I will try to make this as spoiler-free as possible, but I honestly think you just need to go into this knowing it's a horror about religion and queer and trans misfits. So Benji's father dies, and he is trying to save himself from the bad people. And he is found by this boy, Nick, who takes him in to the ALC. It is this like safe haven for queer and trans kids in the midst of this chaos. There, Benji meets so many people that are like him, and it makes him feel at home. However, at first he is very hesitant and scared, obviously. But as he stays there and tries to protect these people, he has a lot of decisions to make. He's also super messy, like he does not make the best decisions. But I was so enthralled by this storyline, and I keep thinking about it. Even though I didn't have any nightmares, this book did scare me. This was fantastic. I especially loved the allegory for monsters, where we have Benji, who is a monster, and how this really talks about how trans people are viewed in society versus how we view ourselves. There's also some internalized transphobia. I really enjoyed how Benji talks about specific things and kind of breaks some stereotypes when it comes to trans people, trans masc people in general. He's offered a binder and he's like, I don't really need to do that. I love that because I think a lot of people forget that trans people are all different. We're not a monolith, so one trans person might want to medically transition or have a binder, or they might get bottom surgery. But for Benji, he doesn't want any of that. He is comfortable with himself, though he does have dysphoria. I loved the way that gender dysphoria was described in this book, because Benji mentions how dysphoria is more about how people perceive you than how you perceive yourself. And honestly, that is the best way to explain it. Whenever I read a trans YA, it just makes me so happy that trans kids get to read this. A trans kid getting to read this and see themselves represented in such a chaotic fashion is amazing. Trans kids deserve to be in all type of genres, and having a horror is amazing. I really enjoyed this, and so I can check it off for being worth the hype. I totally understand why it's worth the hype, and I will be picking up more of Andrew Joseph White's books now, but it might take me a while because I need a break from horror. I've been reading way too much horror for the past 48 hours, and I need to stop. I also read This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I did not think I would like this. I've heard mixed things about it. People saying it's confusing. I'm so glad I was able to get the audiobook because that was phenomenal, and this book was incredible. I can't believe it. Honestly, I've been sleeping on it. I can't believe it. This was fantastic. I don't even know if I can properly review it because it is one of those books that you just have to read it. I don't really want to tell you too much about it. I'm going to reference the blurb so that I don't share any misinformation. This is between two rival agents in a war that stretches through the vast reaches of time and space. So lots of time travel, sci-fi, but I love epistolary format. I need to read more books that are just like letters or journals or something. We have Red and Blue. Red finds a letter from Blue that says, burn before reading. And so it's these two rival agents who are not supposed to be talking to each other and how they fall in love through these letters. And as you saw, I don't know if you could really see how much I was emotionally broken by this book, but I was sobbing by the end. Oh my god. Like, do you ever read a book that makes you cry and then at the end you're just literally exhausted? That's what this book did to me, honestly. What a beautiful book. Beautiful love story. I loved it. I need some sort of book to screen adaptation of this. I hope there's one in the works because this would be such a cool TV series or something. Oh my god, I am so surprised by this book. Oh my god, it was beautiful. Phenomenal. 10 out of 10. And last, I closed it out with a graphic novel, Clementine by Tilly Walden. She is one of my favorite graphic novel writers and illustrators. On the Sunbeam is one of my favorites from her. This was fine. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. Honestly, I don't know much about The Walking Dead, so I think that is kind of what hindered me. If I knew more about The Walking Dead, maybe I would understand it a little bit more. But we follow Clementine, who is from the video game. That's what I understood from the brief description of the book. And so we follow Clementine as she is trying to leave wherever she is. It doesn't actually say where she is, but she's trying to go to Vermont with like a bunch of people from this town. She is an amputee and she uses a prosthetic leg. I always love when a book has disability representation. And basically it's her fighting off the zombies as they try to get to shelter and ultimately to go on a plane to go to Vermont where it's safe. I love zombies. I love queer people. It was good. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. Will I continue in the series if the opportunity arises? Sure, but I don't know if it's something I care about continuing at this moment. And that's going to do it for this video where I had a spinner wheel pick popular queer books that I read. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and leave a comment. It helps me out so much. If you have stayed till now, leave a rainbow emoji down below so I know that you are at the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, and special thank you to my top members on Patreon and Bindry. Your support means so much to me. If you want access to my private Discord where I host a monthly book club and we talk about queer and diverse books and receive exclusive content every week, follow me on Bindry. It's my dream to launch my own imprint dedicated to publishing the queer and trans books I wish existed, so if you want to help me out with that, the Bindry link is down below. If you'd like to watch more, here is that video I was talking about where I had a spinner wheel decide how long I read for, and you can subscribe there.